talking about hating capitalism, thank you, Jason Rantz, for bringing this story to mind. Rantz, Washington Democrats push abusive new tax on jobs they say earn too much. So the proposal is kind of a twisted headline there, isn't it, Jason Rantz? The proposal is to tax, because taxing always solves every public policy problem, right? It's to tax people who make an excessive amount. This is communism. This is communism by Jason Rantz from the Jason Rantz Show. All credit to Jason. As Republicans warned, Washington state Democrats are taking advantage of the partisan and racist Supreme Court ruling redefining capital gains tax as an excise tax. So that must have been something in Washington state. Democrats hope to tax specific job salaries at the behest of healthcare workers. But you'd be naive to think that they'll stop there. That's correct. So once you get a stake in the ground for one of these taxes, it just next year comes along. Oh, we don't have enough money. The so-called excess compensation tax comes from Senate Bills 5767, and it would impose a 7.5% excise tax on hospital administrator jobs that Democrats deem overpaid. The bill defines excess compensation as one that exceeds 10 times the average annual wage of workers statewide, as published by the government. The tax revenue would be used to advance healthcare equity and fund abortion. So under this bill, if the government decides that you're getting too much money, they'll tax you into oblivion, right? So this is where it starts. It starts by taxing hospital administrators at 7.5% if they make too much money. And who gets to decide if they make too much? The government, these people here. And then next year, it's going to be some other job category and a tightening. They're going to move from let's just say $400,000 a year. Oh, this tax will only approach people who make $400,000 a year or more, and then it'll all of a sudden be $300 and $200, and then it would apply to basically everybody, right? Because you're making too much. How dare you make too much in what is a capitalist society? Now, you could probably argue, as I would, that there are way too many healthcare administrators and college administrators, for that matter, already. And I don't want any more. And maybe we should tax just so we don't have as many. But that's ridiculous, because this is just something that grows and grows and grows. It's all about, basically, when we talked earlier in this live stream about communism. I don't want to kind of just throw that out there, because a lot of people get offended when you use the word communism. But socialism, communism, there is no difference except how you spell the words. And it's about communism, and it's about radically changing what is America, right? That's what this is. That's what the Democratic Party and the far left is all about. And you can see that also in beautiful Chicago. Let's see if we can bring this ad up, headline here. Hold on a second. There's a big ad on top of my headline that I wanted to use, but we'll just cut right to it, right to the start. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is off to a running start. The hyper-progressive, I don't know why, stop using the word progressive, Wall Street Journal, far left, is fulfilling every expectation that he'll drive even more people and businesses out of the Windy City. 2 days after narrowly winning election, Mr. Johnson thought it was a good moment to blame the city's crime wave on businesses. 70% of large corporations in the state of Illinois did not pay corporate tax, he told CBS. And that's kind of restraint. How dare they restrain our budget? That has caused the type of disinvestment that has led to poverty and, of course, led to violence. In pool, they call that a triple carom shot. It's a logical non sequitur. From tax payments to budget restraint to poverty shooting someone else in the street, we're sure that the average Chicago gunman is thinking when he shoots someone. Companies don't pay enough taxes, so I'm going to rob this 7-Eleven. Yeah, good point, Wall Street Journal. You think the new mayor, who ran as a leftist, would try to reassure employers so that they would stay in Chicago, that he'd not be as crazy as he is sometimes sounded during the campaign. But now that he's won, he apparently feels liberated to sound even crazier. This should not be a surprise. Mr. Johnson is wrong on taxes, by the way. Illinois corporate income tax is the third highest in the nation. Chicago adds steep property taxes that aren't based on business income or profitability. For fiscal 23, Windy City plans to raise some $5.4 billion in property taxes for its budget in the Chicago public schools. Nearly 47% of that will come from non-resident property taxes. Johnson told CBS he won't raise property taxes. Oh, watch this. But only because they aren't progressive enough. He called for property taxes lazy form of governments. Instead, he will have to find revenue from individuals who have the means to actually contribute to a safer city. He might want to look out of state where companies will be moving as they contemplate operating in a city run by a man who blames crime on employers, not criminals. If you keep on making the environment difficult for employers and for wealthy people, they are going to move. And when they move, they take their tax dollars with them. This is a really simple thing. It's elementary relative to the Laffer curve. The more you tax something, at some point, you make less money. You make less money, right? And the less the tax something, more likely you're going to actually, the less you tax it, the more you'll get of it, and chances are you're going to make more money, more tax revenue. So we're finding that out here in beautiful Massachusetts. We're finding that out here in beautiful Massachusetts because last November we passed a millionaire's tax. Yeah, which is a 4% surcharge on top of your 5.25% state tax. I think I have that number right. And you have to pay that effectively if you meet certain income parameters. Basically, if you make over $1 million or whatever the number is, it's called the millionaire's tax. It's kind of stuck. Because taxing millionaires, those bad millionaires, we need to tax them more so that we can drive them out of the state. So over the weekend, the Boston Globe ran a story. There's asking, and I don't subscribe to the Boston Globe because they constantly call me a racist. So, and anybody else that is just like a normal white person, they hate their white readers. So I canceled it like in the summer of 2020. There's a lot of talk about the millionaire's tax and millionaires leaving, but will they? And this whole article is a confirmation that, yes, they will leave. A lot of them have left. There's one financial advisor after another being interviewed in this article in the Boston Globe. Yeah, they've left. Not only have they left for financial reasons, but there's like a cultural reason that's definitely going on, which it just exists in, blue states. And that's why, occasionally I'll say Massachusetts behind enemy lines, just because it seems like every single day, the divide between people who create and provide and people who take is just getting larger and larger. And so many of the people interviewed in that Boston Globe article, which we're not going to read because I don't pay for the Globe, are going to Florida. Florida's been a huge winner. If you look at any of these studies about who's moved out of Massachusetts since, say, like 2020, Florida's been a huge winner. There's been a study thrown around that millionaires won't move, and they've been doing the time frame on that since 2011. So since 2011 to 2023, they're saying millionaires won't move. Oh yeah, they're moving now. They're moving now for sure. And they're taking their tax revenue with them. So they won't be paying the 5.25% tax because they won't be here anymore. And they're moving to Florida predominantly.